Are we on the verge of a property correction? House prices fall across the country in March, outside London and the East. London and the East of England sole areas where prices increased. Prices in London's most expensive boroughs falling, Land Registry said. Average property price across UK now stands at £189,901. The British property market looked to be on the verge of a correction today, with official data for March showing house price falls in every region outside London and the East of England. The Land Registry data revealed that even in the southeast, outside London, where property prices soared more than anywhere last year, suffered a 0.4% dip last month. While annual rates of house price increase are still high in the southeast and at 10 to 15%, the figures show a surprise turn for the housing market in a month when prices were expected to surge as buy-to-let investors rushed to complete purchases ahead of the April stamp duty increases. Estate agent giant Foxtons warned yesterday that while it thought property values were boosted in the first 3 months of the year by this artificial stimulus, the summer would see a marked slowdown in the market. Highs and lows. Annual property price change by county according to official Land Registry. While London property prices increased 0.2% last month and rose 13.9% year on year, expensive borough including Kensington and Chelsea, as well as Hammersmith and Fulham, saw prices fall in March. Over the last 12 months, property prices in the UK have increased by 6.7% to an average of £189,901, the Land Registry said. But last month, average prices across the country fell by 0.5%, with prices falling by 0.4% in the south-east and at the bottom end of the scale, 2.6% in Yorkshire and the Humber. The figures buck the trend of data from the indices, suggesting house prices were artificially inflated by the surge of buy-to-let investors saturating the market before the stamp duty hike earlier this month. Simplifying house price data. In June, Land Registry's current house price index is being replaced by a single UK house price index. The new index will replace the existing indices published separately by Land Registry and the Office for National Statistics. The North East saw the annual price fall across the UK, dipping by 0.7%. Meanwhile, Slough experienced the biggest annual rise in prices, rising over 22%. The data shows over the year, Neath, Port Talbot saw the most significant annual price fall, with prices dwindling by 4.3%. In London, the borough with the highest annual price rise is Lewisham, with a movement of 19.9%. But last month, some of the capital's most experienced areas, including Kensington and Chelsea, fell. However, the average cost of a home in London remains out of reach for many, standing at £534,785. Going up, property prices in London have increased over 13% in the past year, the Land Registry said. Region: London, annual change 13.9%. The East 10.7%, North West 5.3%, East Midlands 5.7%, South East 10.3%, South West 5.8%, Wales 3.5%, North East minus 0.7%, West Midlands 3.1%, Yorkshire and the Humber 1.6%. The number of homes sold for over £1 million in England and Wales in January increased by 2% to 938, up from 916 year earlier, largely driven by the London market, rising by an average of 7.5% in the year. The cost of flats has increased faster than detached or semi-detached homes, the data suggests. Looking ahead, Dr. Howard Archer, Chief UK and European economist at IHS Global Insight, said, "We expect housing market activity to remain limited momentum in the second half of 2016 on the assumption that a vote to stay in the EU reduces uncertainty and supports a pickup in economic activity. High employment, decent purchasing power, and the probability that interest rates will not rise for some considerable time to come, and highly unlikely in 2016, should underpin buyer interest. Rising, the average price of a home in the UK rose to £202,436 this month, Nationwide said. Land Registry's data is an official index charting price shifts to the end of March. Separate findings published by the Nationwide today and taking into account data from this month suggest average prices across the UK increased to £202,436 this month. Year on year, house prices increased by 4.9% this month, slowing from a 5.7% rise in March. Nationwide's house price index reveals. Nationwide said it expects to see the number of homes being sold fall in the coming months, with supply continuing to outstrip demand. Robert Gardner, Nationwide's chief economist, said, "This slowdown returns the annual pace of house price growth to the fairly narrow range between 3% and 5% that had been prevailing since the summer of 2015. Slowing this month's 0.2% house price hike is the lowest since UK November 2015, Nationwide said. It may be that the surge in house purchase activity resulting from the increase in stamp duty on second homes from April 1 provided a temporary boost to prices in March. However, it is possible that the recent pattern of strong employment growth, rising real earnings, low borrowing costs, and constrained supply will tilt the demand-supply balance in favor of sellers and exert upward pressure on price growth once again in the quarters ahead." Nationwide's figures are based on mortgages approved and valued by the Society during the month, adjusted to reflect the price of a typical home. Annual increase year-on-year house prices have increased 4.9%, Nationwide said. Commenting on today's figures by Nationwide, Jeremy Leaf, a former RICS chairman and North London estate agent, said, "It is surprising that Nationwide is already reporting a slowdown in annual house price growth. The party seems to have ended earlier than expected, and due to the historic nature of such data, this doesn't bode particularly well for the next few months for the property market, especially when you take into account uncertainty caused by other factors. As far as the housing market is concerned, that Brexit vote can't come soon enough."